Yeah, a little nervous, but
Yeah, it's a weird environment if you've not done something like this a
yeah.
lot. Yeah. So I'm glad that you're on that side. I'm on this side. But yeah, you can just keep eyes on me or in my area. Look over my head.
Okay, cool, cool.
You're our second person today.
Okay.
Everything went totally fine the first time, so I have no doubts that it'll
Okay.
Could I have you move this chair just a little right to the left, or yeah, to the left? Okay.
Can you move around a little bit so I can make sure that the mic is good? No.
No.
Not adjusted, but just move around.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
just
Cool.
like
Sound
that.
good.
Yeah. Okay, and if you could look at her just for a moment so I can establish what the eye line looks like on camera. And
Yeah.
Not uncomfortable at all, right?
For me, it is.
Okay, I'm excited. All right, we're ready to go whenever you two are.
Okay. So I think the first thing we started with last time was just asking you to say your name and your major and what your small group is. So for you, I think it would be the CS pod.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you can say computer science pod.
My name is Mridhul Madella. I'm a computer science major, and my small group community is the computer science pod.
Let's try it one more time.
What is the terminology? Is it small group?
You can say I liked my small community is the computer science pod.
Okay. My name is Mridhul Madella, and I'm a computer science major, and I liked my small group environment, which was the computer science pod.
Okay, can we go ahead and do that one
I
more time,
completely
please?
forgot what you told me to say. I am so bad under pressure.
We're
It will-
relieving the
You're
pressure
good,
right
man.
now.
No,
You are
this
good.
it's great.
Okay.
I promise if it goes anything like it did this morning, like after the first couple questions, it was like we hit like this stasis.
Okay, cool.
Okay, everything is okay. So what we did this morning was we ended up looping back to a couple of the first questions.
Okay, so yeah.
So yeah, no
after
pressure at
okay.
all. We're just kind of practicing right now, laying the groundwork. So if you could tell me your name, your major, and what small group you're a part of this semester.
My name is Mridhul Madella, and I'm a computer science major, and I liked my computer science pod.
Okay, can I have an intake of that too, please?
Sure. Can you tell me your name and your major and the group that you were a part of this semester?
My name is Mridhul Madella, and I'm a computer science major, and I liked my computer science pod.
Great. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the concerns that you had in transitioning from high school into the college environment?
As any college freshman can attest to, everybody's afraid of, can I fit in college? Can I make the grades that I made in high school? And how am I going to approach, being at such a large university? And so those were my fears coming in, and, having to deal with those struggles was definitely something that was, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Yes.
I have like a
You're doing
construction
good.
crew out there too. I'm listening to these trucks fire up. We don't catch them on your mics.
Okay, cool.
You're doing well, dude.
Yeah, it sounded really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there's some kind of air pressure issue happening over in WC Hogs.
Yeah,
There's
when
lots
we
of
had
noise outside.
David Vandenboe, of course, the new associate dean, come in here, we had the most racket. It was quiet all day, and then the second he sat down, all of a sudden, all this construction started outside there. It's just like, oh my god, this is a nightmare. But we got through it. So.
All right, let's try again. Talk to me a little bit about some of the concerns that you had before coming to UT, transitioning from high school to college.
As every college freshman can attest to, a few of the fears that we all have is, can we fit into such a large university? Can we make the grades that we're so used to from high school? And how are we going to make a name for ourselves? And how are we going to establish ourselves in such a large community? And that's one of the things the small group environment has definitely helped with, is learning to cope with those struggles and overcoming them, or if we're in the process of overcoming them as freshmen.
Perfect. I'm going to roll through, I think, a few of the first questions. We'll just kind of get everything running, and then, like I said, we might loop back to some of those a little bit.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit, you mentioned about the small group helping with that transition. Can you tell me some of the ways in which being a part of the computer science pod helped with your transition to UT?
So one of the benefits of being in the computer science pod is whenever there's a concept that I don't understand when the professor speaks about in his lecture, I can always go to my pod facilitator or the pod TA and I can get further clarification. I know that both the pod facilitator and the pod TA have office hours that I can go to at any point in the week. And if there's any help I need in anything related to computer science, whether it's I can't get into the building after hours, or I don't know how to use the computers in the lab, or any computer science related questions that I may have, both the facilitator and the pod mentor are there for me 24/7.
Tell me about a couple of resources you found on campus this semester that have been particularly helpful.
So when I was in high school, I always heard about, in college you have advisors as opposed to counselors, and I didn't really know how to deal with that. I didn't know what an advisor was used for. But after coming to the university, I know that the advisor are your best friends in terms of planning out your future and dealing with, what course do I need to take now in order to graduate in 4 years? What opportunities do I have after my 4 years of college? And those, they definitely are the best resources that we have. Yes, resources. That's the word I'm looking for.
We could try it again.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the resources that have best served you during this first semester here at UT.
I think the most beneficial resource to me was definitely the use of advisors. In high school, we didn't have advisors; we just had counselors, and we used to go. They were used to, hey, let's talk about our problems. But here, when we go talk to advisors, it's more, what can I do in the next 4 years? What course am I supposed to take? What job opportunities do I have after I get my degree? And I think definitely the advisors have been the best resource, that, at least for me, that I've learned to grow fond of.
Great. That was great.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Just one little tip though. Try not to emote to your responses after you finish. Like a lot of people don't realize this, but they'll make like a little face or something after they get done with their response.
Okay, because I'm happy I'm done. Yeah,
Yes.
got it.
Yes.
Or it's like we were getting some this morning of like, was that okay?
Yeah, and that was excellent.
Okay,
Which is what I
cool.
would be doing if I was sitting right there.
Yes.
So totally understand. So my next question was going to be, how did your academic advisor help you this semester? But you kind of talked about that already. So,
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about self-advising tools. Is there anything that you used that you found particularly helpful, whether it was running a degree audit, reviewing your degree plan in detail, or mapping out your 4-year graduation plan, something like that? Were there any self-advising tools that you used that helped you?
So in terms of self-advising, I think one of the best resources that the university offers, and every major has this resources that you can go online and you can look up degree plans. And I think that's the best resource that I have, is at any point in time I can go look up, hey, is this course actually used for my degree or not? And whenever it comes to time to register for classes, that's one of the few things that I'm always looking at. I have a favorite. It's on my favorites, and it's very useful in terms of mapping out your schedule for the next 4 years. Can I graduate in 4 years? What do I need to do? Do I need to take summer courses? And that's one of the things I have on my wall. Is I have a little poster of like, this is what I need to take sophomore year. This is what I need to take junior year, and I have it mapped out.
Can we stop for a second?
Yeah.
Just like, can you pull it out?
Pull it out.
Yeah, I have it where the mic is out. So the inside is straight. So just probably just click on this other side.
How you doing?
Still nervous, but
Yeah, you hanging in there.
yeah.
I know it's awkward. You sound really good. It does sound really, really good. I think we'll hit a stride, and then it's all going to be.
Hopefully.
You will. You definitely.
You're already starting to hit
Yeah,
it,
you will.
actually.
Let's go back. Let's do that one more time. So tell me a little bit about a self-advising tool that you used this semester that's been particularly helpful for you.
One of the best resources that the university offers, and it's independent to each major, is the online degree plans that they offer. So every major has a list of the courses that you need to take in order to satisfy your degree requirements. And it's one of the things I've grown very fond of, and I use it very often in terms of what courses do I need to take next semester? What can I do over the summer at community college and it's more about how can I plan out the next 4 years so it's smoother during registration time, and that's one of the best self-advising tools I've learned to use.
That was great. Let's see here. Tell me about a positive faculty or TA interaction you've had during your first semester.
I think one of the most nerve-wracking situations that a college freshman has to endure is, talking to your TA or your professor one-on-one. And I think one of the situations that I'll look back on, maybe it's kind of naive of me, but I'll always remember the first time I asked a question in class, raised my hand, hey, Professor Scott, can you explain this to me? And the reason why I recall that because of as a positive instance is because the immediate response was, wow, that was a good question. So it moved me beyond the stage of I shouldn't ask questions because they're probably stupid questions to, maybe I should ask questions because they can help me learn and, the professor isn't going to think I'm stupid. So.
Great. Perfect. Can we try that one just one more
Yes, I know I smiled. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about a positive faculty or TA interaction that you had this fall.
One of the most memorable situations from a lecture was the first time I asked my CS professor, a question, and it was something that I didn't really understand the concepts that he was explaining. So before that, I always thought of myself as, man, everybody else in this class is smarter than me, and I don't know if I can ask questions because the professor's going to think I'm slacking, I'm not reading the textbook or whatever. So when I asked my question, and the first response he had was, wow, that's a good question, it moved me beyond the stage of, I shouldn't ask questions to, yeah, maybe I can, and it's okay because the professor, he thinks it's a good question, so it's probably not a dumb question. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's very helpful information for incoming questions because everybody is paralyzed to ask a question like that.
Oh, I still am. That was totally BS, but that won't be on the tape, so.
We can splice that in. I'm going to go back real quickly to talking about some of the concerns about transitioning from high school, okay? So tell me a little bit about some things that worried you before you came to UT about transitioning from high school into the UT culture.
Well, as everybody knows, UT it's a very massive school, and I came from a high school of maybe 500 kids, so it's a huge transition. But one of the things that I was always worried about, especially this past summer, was am I going to fit into UT, and can I make the grades that I used to make in high school, and how was I going to make that transition, and how was going to fit in and make a name for myself? And that's something that every freshman is going to have to cope with. But one of the benefits of the small group environment is the fact that you can have a facilitator and you can have a mentor that you can go talk to, and you can address these fears. And one of the benefits of the small group environment was that you feel more a part of the UT culture. And, as somebody who didn't have much, school pride and all that before, the small group environment has definitely made me feel more in place at UT. And it is a second family, as it's always quoted.
So this one's kind of open-ended, and we'll see what comes out of it, but no pressure. Tell me something that you discovered this semester, something that maybe has shaped some of your decisions for next semester, or something that maybe has spurred, something that you're thinking now you want to try within your 4 years here. Any type of discovery, whether it was a new class that you took that you weren't sure you were going to like, joining a student org you didn't know much about, something like that. Is there anything that you discovered this semester?
I haven't done any student orgs. Damn. Wow, I knew I should have done that. Okay.
These are all.
Oh God. This is one of the one questions I didn't know how to answer when I was looking through. I don't know.
We can keep going, and then
Yes,
we
please.
can come back to it and
Yes,
see
please.
if there's something else that comes out. That's fine. If not, that's fine too. Here, let's go to this one. You've already spoken about this a little bit, but just talk a little bit about what the best parts have been for you about being a part of a small group of other freshmen who are in your same major. What's been most helpful about that for you?
A lot of kids in the computer science pod with me are all in the same block in my, we're all on the same lecture period. So one of the benefits of being in a group with, all freshmen all in the same class, all in the same major is that if we ever have any problems in terms of an assignment or we're trying to study for a test, it's definitely a resource in terms of, hey, I can go study with these people. I know these people in terms of I've seen them outside of the lecture and they're very similar to me. It's not like we're have a dozen different majors. So one of the benefits of being in the pod is that it's really good in terms of networking and in terms of getting to know other people in the same situation as you. So if you need somebody to lean on in terms of help for an assignment or a test or whatever, it's definitely easier to do that with the members of your pod.
Have you had any surprises?
That was a
Sorry.
surprise.
Wait for that sound.
What
Okay.
was that?
The baby seal dying. I don't know.
Surprises. Can we go back to the what did you discover thing?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
All
well,
right.
bouncing off an idea here. The culture of Austin, and it's a very vibrant city, and there's tons of job opportunities around here. Blah blah blah. Good?
Yeah, I
No
think
good?
that
Okay.
sounds perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can we go
let's
back
do
to that one then?
Sure.
And I'll come back to surprises because
That works.
everything's been a surprise.
Which that's a perfectly viable.
Okay,
answer.
cool.
Tell me about something you discovered this semester.
One of the things that was definitely surprised me and took me took me back was the culture of Austin. I knew Austin, keep Austin weird and all that, but I didn't really know much about the people at UT and the situations that everybody comes from. So one of the benefits of, I think the biggest benefit of UT is the networking again. I remember the third week of school we had a job fair and there were at least 200 companies there just for College of Natural Sciences. So I mean, one of the benefits of UT is there's so many companies right around here willing to hire you. In terms of the people, some of the nicest people I've ever met. Definitely a jump from what I saw back home. Everybody here is so friendly and willing to help. And I think just the vibrance of the city is definitely something that, I definitely discovered that. And it's great. You can go on a run to the Capitol at midnight and, it's 10 minutes away. Barton Springs, and the city is just so different from a lot of the small cities that we come from.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's try it again.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
that was
no.
terrible.
No.
That was good. You touched on some really excellent points in that. It came off very natural too.
It did. Yeah. No, it was
Thank
very,
you.
very good. So tell me about something that you discovered since coming to UT.
One of the biggest discoveries that I made is definitely the vibrance of the city. There are a lot of things that I found in Austin that I didn't find back home, and I think a part of that is it's such a big city and there's so many opportunities here. For example, I think the third week of school we had a job fair, and just for CNS there was about 250 companies there just willing to hire us, and a lot of them were based in Austin. So there's plenty of job opportunities around. Other things in the city that I've discovered, it's such a big city, so there's so many things to do. ACL, Barton Springs, you can run to the Capitol at midnight, and there's so many things to do, and that's a departure from a lot of what we saw back at home. So that's one of the biggest discoveries and one of the benefits of Austin.
That was awesome. That's great. Do you want to go back to surprise or not yet?
I don't know how to answer that. that's part of the problem.
Well, what about when you said everything has been a
So why don't you
surprise?
just say everything and that will be the take. And then a little tear rolls down.
I mean, I think it's.
If you think that's a viable, oh shoot, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
It's not broken, right?
No.
Okay.
Sure, you good.
If you think that's a viable answer, then I mean I can say
There
it.
are so many students who come in for a semester, and really, it's like,
Yeah.
what wasn't a surprise?
Yeah, because you don't know what to expect. Okay.
Exactly, and
cool.
I think that's absolutely it. Yeah. That's
Just
something
like,
to
where
look
did you said you came from a small town? Is that right?
San Antonio, so not a small town at all.
Okay.
So much like everything I've said so far, that is a tiny fib.
Sorry, it's working.
See, I'm in front of the camera. I should be in politics now, man. Lies and.
We were finding your career calling.
So tell me about tell me what have been some surprises since you've come to UT.
Surprises. I mean, everything has been a surprise, really. it's such a departure from what you experienced in high school, and you know, it's not. The biggest surprise has been the difference in your days. I mean, high school, everything was planned out to the minute. You knew exactly what you're going to do, and you did it. I mean, there was no variables there. In college, there's so much freedom, and there's so much lack of structure that I know a lot of freshmen, you know, struggle with that. But that's one of the biggest surprises to me. And you know, I think how you deal with that lack of structure definitely defines your collegiate career, as well as you know how you progress through the rest of your life.
That was awesome. Yeah, I mean, you definitely touched on a lot of things. I think
Very
it's going to
true.
be very relatable.
Okay, cool,
Do you
cool.
want to try it again?
Up to you, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll try one more time. So tell me what surprised you the most this semester.
Surprises. I mean, there's been a lot. Definitely one of the biggest surprises for me has been the lack of structure. I mean, in high school, we knew exactly what we were going to do. Everything was planned out to the minute, and you know, you did it, and there was really no variables in terms of how your day went. But in college, there's so much freedom, and there's so much lack of structure that you know, it's something that every freshman has to cope with, and it really defines how you progress through your collegiate career. Can you make the best of that freedom, and can you like you know make yourself a better person, a better student, or are you gonna misuse that lack of freedom? And that, like I said, that's gonna define your collegiate career as well as you know how you progress after college.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that was perfect. Um, so touching a little bit on what you're talking about in terms of that lack of structure in coming into the college system. Um, this isn't on our sheet, but tell me a little bit about, it's an easy one. Tell me a little bit about your time management in high school versus your time management here at UT. Has it?
Oh, a lot of naps. A lot of naps. Okay.
How has your time management evolved during this first semester?
It's definitely time management is definitely an acquired skill, and you know it's definitely a learning curve. For the first few weeks here, I didn't know how to schedule my days. You know, it was just go to class, come home, study, eat, maybe. I mean, and then go to sleep. Yeah, but as you progress through past the first few weeks, past the first few months, you learn how to manage your time. You know, I have to go to class, and then I have to study for class, and then I have to you know TA hours or tutoring sessions or whatever. So time management definitely is a skill that you learn to acquire. You never make the same mistake twice, and that's how I learned. And I'm sure a lot of other freshmen are learning the same way. Is you screw up the first few weeks and you don't attend a lecture or you don't attend a TA session or whatever it is, and then you learn to not make that mistake again. Okay.
You just had to smile a little bit.
Ah, damn it. Okay.
Try it again.
Yeah. My bad.
So tell me a little bit about how your time management has evolved from high school into this first semester of college.
Going back to what I said about lack of structure, high school was definitely, you know, you had scheduled times for your classes, and you know exactly where you were going to be at every point of the day, and that's not something you have in college. So in terms of you're being thrown out into the wild pretty much, and you really don't have any idea of how your days are going to go. So I think time management, for me at least, was definitely an acquired skill. For the first few weeks, you're kind of clueless. What do I do now? I have so much free time. I mean, I'm not stuck in an 8-hour class day like I was in high school. You know, classes here an hour, so maybe you have 2 or 3 hours of class a day, and what do you do with the rest of the day? So I think after the first few weeks where you understand, you know, this is what the professor expects of me, this is what I need to do for this class, time management becomes an easier thing in the sense that you know how to portion out your days accordingly to be the best student you can be and to do well in a class.
What do we want to loop back? Let's loop back to the beginning. Let's do name major and
Yeah.
CS one more time.
Okay.
So we'll just say, just tell me your name, tell me your major, and tell me what kind of group you were in.
And the small group I was in was the computer science pod. Cool.
Exactly.
My name is Mridhul TC, and I'm a computer science major. And the small group that I was in was the computer science pod. I might have smiled. I might have smiled. I know I smiled. Ah, damn it.
No, that's why you looked over at me.
Because I smiled.
Yes, I know. This is my first
I love that.
rodeo, my
Perfect.
friend.
Did you get that? Did you get it?
Okay. Do you want to do it again?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Tell me your name, your major, and what group you were in this fall.
My name is Mridhul TC, and I'm a computer science major. And the small group I was in was the computer science pod.
good.
That was
It's
good. You're good.
Very serious.
I'm trying not to crack you
He was
up.
focused.
Yeah.
Trying not to go character right there.
Staring laser beams through.
That was an intense moment right there.
Yeah, very much.
Let's go back real quickly to talking about the small group facilitating your transition to UT. So tell me a little bit about how that computer science pod has helped you during this first semester.
There are a lot of unknowns when you come into college, and I think the small group has definitely helped me kind of understand how college works and move beyond the fact that I'm a deer-in-the-headlights freshman. One of the best parts of having a pod or having a small group is that you have a mentor and a facilitator that you can go to at any time during the week, and you can ask them any sort of question relating to whatever the small group is about. So for me, computer science. Coming in, I was completely new to it, and I didn't have any idea what was going on. I was new to UT's computer science department. And one of the best things about the pod is that they teach you the fundamentals of whatever field you're in. So for me, I've learned skills regarding how to deal with programs and how to use the UT facilities for computer science. And that's one of the best benefits of the small group is that you lose some of the cluelessness, and they teach you the fundamentals of how to fit into UT's UT system.
Are there portions you all would like to loop back to?
I think he's done pretty well. Is there something you have, Farley?
No advice.
Oh yeah, we did that this morning and that worked out well. Advice for
Advice.
incoming freshmen. What is something you would tell if I was one of next year's freshmen sitting in front of you?
Okay, cool.
What would you say to me?
Cool. One of the best pieces of advice I can give to an incoming freshman, something I just learned this past week, is you only make the same mistake twice, and you only make the same mistake twice. You don't. Yeah, that's bad advice. Don't take that advice. Terrible advice. I've learned nothing when I came here. Okay. UT, best and brightest. Sorry.
Did I see it changes the word?
You. How am I supposed to say that? You don't make the same mistake twice?
Yeah.
Go off.
Yeah, this just went off.
Is it back on?
No. I did so bad the light turned off. Wow.
The light's like, we're
Okay. Okay. That would be one. Well, it's at 100%.
Okay.
That's fine. Okay. What we can do is we're gonna just quickly switch. We're gonna grab the kick light and put it over here. And this won't impact the other interviews. Don't worry.
Mhm.
Let me tell you, I'm expecting some really good advice out of you after we get this.
Oh God. Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm feeling.
Yeah. No, the spotlight's on me now, so I can't screw up.
All right, great.
Cool.
No pressure.
tell me when to go.
Whenever she prompts
Yeah.
you.
You ready for some advice?
Yeah.
All right. So if I was a freshman coming in next year, what's the best advice you could give me?
I think the best advice I would give to a freshman is something I just learned very recently is you don't make the same mistake twice. And, you know, the transition from high school to college is very difficult. You really have no clue what's going on when you first get here, and it's like that way for the first few months. But if you make a mistake and you struggle with something, learn from that and move on, and don't dwell on it. I was so used to making great, like super stellar grades in high school, and when you get here, not everybody's gonna have a 4.0, regardless whether you're top of the class or the middle class or whatever. You're not gonna make the 4.0 here. Like everybody wants one. So when you struggle with something and you make mistakes and you fail at something, it's about learning about where you screwed up, fixing that about yourself, and then moving on and not dwelling on it because really, if you learn from your mistake, you can't make it again.
Should we try it one more?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me your best advice for an incoming freshman.
The best advice I could give somebody who's gonna come into the best advice I could give an incoming freshman to UT is that you don't make the same mistake twice, and that's something I learned very recently. Is that coming in from high school, the transition is very difficult, and people have really no clue what's going on for the first few weeks. And people are going to make mistakes, and people are going to make wrong choices or whatnot, and they're going to struggle in their classes and whatnot. But the thing is, you have to learn from those mistakes, change whatever skills that you have acquired, or change whatever habits that you have, and then move on from that. Because in the end, if you learn from your mistakes, you're not going to make the same one again. Let's do it again, please.
Okay. Tell me your best piece of advice for a new freshman.
The best piece of advice I could offer incoming freshmen right now is something I learned very recently, and it's learn from your mistakes and don't make the same one twice. The transition from high school to college is it's very difficult, and like I said, lack of structure, and you really have to find your place at UT because it's such a big campus. But one of the things that I struggled with was, grade-wise, high school is very easy, and UT is one of the elite schools in the United States, so it's not going to be as easy as it was in high school. Learning from your mistakes and learning to change whatever habits you have, whether it's study habits or time management, learning from your mistakes and changing those habits will allow you to be a better student, be a better person, and better acclimate to the university environment, and help you as a collegiate student.